So it's definitely no secret that the first generation Apple Vision Pro is incredible. It's so exciting to have a device from Apple that feels completely new and you don't instantly know everything it does or how to do every little thing. But in this video, I want to focus on 5 key features that I really think it's missing that I would love to see in a update in June for WWDC or as soon as possible. And make sure to leave a comment down below letting me know what features you would like to see added to the Vision Pro as well. I also want to give credit to Brennan Washington, Joey Helms, and Brandon Talbot, as we all had fun on our first kind of FaceTime persona call yesterday for about 2 hours, just talking about our experiences, and we kind of just came up with these various different ideas for what we think should be added. So number one, I think there's a huge opportunity for growth in interacting and connecting to existing Apple devices. Seeing how seamless it is to look over at a open Mac and hit connect and instantly have a window with that screen, as well as any peripherals you have connected to your Mac, you can just seamlessly use your mouse in another window on the Vision Pro outside of the Mac window is just nuts, and shows the capabilities of connecting to various different devices that you don't have to go through this whole setup process for. The 2 standout ones is Brendan Washington had this great idea of he would love to be able to have a window that is his phone, because the pass-through of the Vision Pro isn't perfectly lifelike, and when you get really close it has kind of a bad minimum focus distance, so it's a little blurry. If your phone brightness is all the way up, it looks overexposed. So it's just not a great experience to wear the Vision Pro, pull out your phone, and interact with it. So it would just be cool to have a little rectangle window in the Vision Pro. Maybe you could glance down at your pocket and almost virtually pull the window out of your pocket if you want to check your phone without actually physically pulling it out. And very similar to that, either Joey or Brendan Talbot had the idea to raise your watch and then have Control Center or something even customizable kind of pop up over the watch. We see this a lot of times in games. That is the most cliche way to like get your menu or what's inside your like inventory or something, is to raise your wrist. I think there's so many ways that you could connect to Apple TVs, various different Macs, iPads. There's just a lot of room for growth there. Next up is saved workspaces. Anyone who has tried the Vision Pro is truly blown away by how good you can lock in a window to a space and leave the room and come back. I think it'd be super cool to be able to have a saved workspace. So if I come into my studio, throw on the Vision Pro, I can just load in kind of like a focus mode. I can just load in my saved workspace, and on this back wall, my computer will pop up, so I can edit, maybe have a movie on up above, have my messages on this wall, other various apps open over here, music in the corner. And that way you don't have to constantly reload all your apps and then move them to the place that you want it to be. Saved workspaces, I think, would be one of the best software updates that this could get. Number 3, almost as equal to the last one, multiple users. Now they were smart. They did put in a very basic guest mode, which allows you to take off the headset, give it to someone else, and they go through a very basic, quick setup process to make sure their hands are scanned, get the pupils locked in, and then you can give permissions for what apps they can have access to, or if they can have access to check out anything. And while that's fine, if you're sitting with a friend, they have more than 5 or 10 minutes to play around with it. But for example, I like to show Michelle a lot of these experiences.
Oh my god, that's so scary! Don't let Gabby do this!
So when I'm giving it to the same person over and over, we found that we don't even do the guest mode anymore. I just have her put it on and then press and hold the button here to realign the eyes. And then the pupils still aren't perfect. She still has issues, like she'll go to tap something and it won't like be looking at the thing she's actually looking at. Until there's multiple users, it's just not going to be that easy for you to share this with multiple people. And at the price point, most households aren't going to be able to buy multiple of these, let alone, one. So hopefully in the next big update, we can see multiple users. So the next one is multiple Mac windows. Now, I have to believe that the reason we don't have this feature from day one is because it probably was just too much processing power for this current gen to handle. Now, if you don't know already, if you connect to your Mac, it essentially makes your Mac screen go black and then gives you one 4K window to work with. You cannot have multiple monitors. This means when I'm working in DaVinci Resolve, if you're in Final Cut, Premiere, doing video editing, you can't turn on multiple different monitors. I think most of us video editors imagined that as the biggest kind of advantage to this is having a giant clean feed up here and then just my timeline here and my bins and stuff over here, and I can move things around wherever I want them. And this has an M2 chip in it, and that's an M2 Max, but even a basic M2 chip can handle at least 2 displays on a Mac. But because it's doing everything else on the chip, that stuff has got to be taking enough of the CPU and GPU workload that it just doesn't have the bandwidth to then also have a really good experience with multiple displays. I'd be curious if a third-party developer can kind of hack their way through this with an extension app or something, and then we could at least see what the experience is like. But I have a feeling that this one probably may not come until the Generation 2, unfortunately. And number 5, this one's a little generic, but a killer app. I'm sure if you've watched enough Vision Pro reviews, you've heard this more than once. The experience of this by itself is a huge reason if you have the money to get one. It's something that even if you're not buying this, you should go into an Apple store and do the demo. It's an amazing experience. And there's a lot of great productivity tools and apps that have already been released, and it's day 2 or 3 at this point, so many more will be released in the coming weeks, months, and of course years. But usually a device like this, if it was from any other company not Apple, would need a killer app experience feature that was so mind-blowing that it would justify it for that set of users. A lot of even the first-party Apple apps don't feel like they are as immersive as they could be on this. When Apple said that there's 1 million apps on day 1 in the App Store, the majority of those are because existing iPhone and iPad apps, the developers just had to say, yeah, you can throw this in the Vision Store, but they're essentially just windows of the iPad apps, which it's still cool. It's still a good experience, but it's not like everything is a truly, it's not like the calendar app like wraps around you and you can, go up to a giant calendar day and I don't know, put tasks on it or something. Most of the apps in here are just floating windows that you can interact with and look at and all that, but it's not really different than if you just kind of dangled your iPad in 3D space. If you're out there and you have Vision Pro, or if you've seen a demo and you think there is that one app that just absolutely blows your mind, please let me know down in the comments below. I would love to check it out. But at least in these first couple days, there's nothing besides like spatial video, spatial photos. Those are my go-to, like watching the immersive experiences in Apple TV Plus. Those are my go-tos when I'm giving this to like family members or friends and being like, you gotta check this out. But in terms of apps and productivity and creative stuff, there's nothing that's like, oh my God, this absolutely without a doubt is worth, the $4,000. But this is an area that I think is going to be filled very quickly, in my opinion. Again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and are looking forward to more Vision Pro experiences, then definitely get subscribed. This is a brand new channel for me. If you have no idea who I am, my name is Michael Tobin. I have a main channel of nearly 80,000 people. If you're into filmmaking, editing, that's where you can head over for that stuff. I'm so excited about this product, and I wanted to make a channel that is fully dedicated where I can just explore everything related to Vision Pro. So thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.